All right, welcome all. So this is my new kind of, or our new setup. This is me, Meten, Mario, and Casey, and I met these guys at a recent event. It was in December 8th, December 9th. It was a human design conference that we were all at. These guys are astrologers, just like me, and they also know human design as well. And we're just gonna like ramble, talk some shit, talk about where we're at right now, talk about Pluto initiating all the planets. We all know how, I think we're all feeling how intense that is and crazy right now it is. Then we'll talk about the Aries Vortex a little, and then maybe we'll extend out some help to those that are lost in the sideways, sideways sidereal, or sidereal, however it's said.
I
And
think it's properly called sidereal. But
sidereal. Okay, there you go. There you go. There's some respect to it. Um, I don't know why though. So, anyways, why don't you guys share a little more, introduce yourself to at least my side. Who wants to go first? Mario, Casey,
Right.
any?
Go ahead, Casey.
Okay. Um, so yeah, my name's Casey Gizzy. I'm an astrologer, so I do all the readings, the transits, the chart, progress charts, solar yearly forecasts. I also do astro-theology. I teach lectures on that, and I also teach a something I call astro-healology, which is basically holistic healing timing methods using astrology, like the lunar cycles, and something that's lesser known, which is the planetary days and hours. And that's all about like converting um, cosmic energy through conscientiousness of understanding, like um, basically the 7 days of the week are actually seven, um, are the seven visible planets. Um, Sunday is the sun. Moon is the Monday is the moon day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is all. I believe it's either Latin or Greek for Tuesday Mars, Wednesday.
Is this different than electional astrology?
Oh yeah, I know it's different. It's different. It's more about basically it comes down to this where um like today is Wednesday, so it's Mercury Day. Um, and if you are lacking, say you with like mental fog or something like that, you want to be conscientious about how you're going to use your Wednesdays, basically. Or like Saturday, Saturn Day, SETUR, it's Saturn Day. You want if you're lacking discipline, responsibility, you need help with that. Learn how to plan and convert your day with um, you know, eating well, exercising, doing things that you've been putting off, stuff like that. And then that way you convert Saturn's energy into your system better. And then along with like the lunar cycles and the new moon, when the moon transits your sign, it's all about you know replenishing your spinal fluid because it's a personal new moon. And you also get on new moons, you also get a an upsurge of that energy too. We just had a Capricorn new moon, and that mineral that it's associated with is calcium phosphate that the sun produces. So there's 12 cellular mineral salts that go along with the 12 signs, and so we get we manufacture that oil also on universal new moons. So that is more rich in calcium phosphate. So so it's good to take advantage of understanding this and knowing like the ancients and a lot of monks and saints know this. New moons is a time to fast and be celibate, and or at least just eat well or be in proper behavior, because that way you're raising the fluid and then you're converting the energy, and you're actually often gaining a month of life instead of squandering it, losing the essence, and you lose a month. That's how we age, and we basically degenerate ourselves. So, um, so I just want to kind of explain what astrotheology is. It's just something that I call. It's not a known thing, but I work with that. I we can get into more of that later or down the line um, as we do these podcasts. But yeah, My YouTube is the Astrology. I'm also on Instagram and Instagram Threads.
All right, thanks, man. Mario, how about you?
My name is Mario Mijares. And I've been studying and practicing astrology for going on almost 20 years. Started really young, at age 17. I was working at Home Depot, reading the newspaper, and I was reading the astrology for the sign Gemini, and it mentioned something about Mercury going retrograde. And my thoughts were, what the hell do the planets have to do with my horoscope? And at that point, I realized I don't know anything about horoscopes or astrology. So later on that day, I went home, typed into Google, Mercury, Gemini, and then that's when I, was exposed to the planets and astrology and the whole system, and realized right then and there that astrology was just this complex language and science and beautiful storytelling, and all these psychological archetypes and the seasons. It just opened my world to so much, because already at that age I was really into the esoterics and magic, and I was already kind of studying and on my own path of diving into those spiritual topics. And so when I found astrology, it just opened everything up much more wider, because as someone who wants to, practice magic or likes to think of themselves as a wizard or an alchemist or even a Jedi of some sorts, one of the basic fundamental things you have to come to learn as somebody that wants to, feel more in tune with the universe is, the elements. The four elements, and including the spirit, and also the seasons, and just the whole story of the hero's journey, and just all these different layers. If you want to really become a master of your own mind, of your own life, of your own reality, it's just, I just saw astrology as like all encompassing. And for me at my young age, at 17, right? 17, I'm just opening the door. And at that young age, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a badass wizard when I get older, and I'm gonna be a master at all this stuff. So it's just like, I'm 35 now, and things change as you get older. You go through experiences you never thought you were gonna foresee, even with astrology. Um, but opening that door with astrology, it just gave me so much. Like it gave me a real, I feel like it gave me a big head start um in life, for a number of reasons, for my own personal development, but also in helping me um mature when dealing with the rest of the world around me. And so my practice started out with me just reading some basic books on the introductions to astrology, and then later on got a little bit more deeper and advanced with it. And I would say about the first five or so, maybe 5, 6 years of my like the very first 5 years of me studying astrology. This was before YouTube. This was before Instagram. This was before, all the, social media astrology superstars you see today. And so at that time, everything for me was books. So I was reading books, studying books, and I wasn't aware of schools or things of that nature. Didn't even think of typing in the internet astrology school. So what I did for myself for about the first 5 years was I would journal. So I would journal every day. Okay, today the moon is in Pisces and it's conjunct the North Node in Pisces at 9 degrees, and Mercury is getting ready to conjunct Pluto and just crossed over the sun. Okay, so according to the books I'm reading, these are the kind of definitions they give. And this is the kind of life that I have right now. So I might experience something like this. Somebody might experience something like that. then at the end of the day, I would come home and I would enter the information and I would really try to think, okay, where in my life or where in the world around me could I see those aspects actually interface with me or actually, influence the world around me? So, the first few years was in a way sort of also proving to myself that astrology is very real. I would even go against it sometimes, like, okay, the moon is in Pisces right now, it's conjunct Mars in Pisces right now. This would be a bad time to go out drinking with friends. I'm going to test that and I'm going to go out and drink with friends. Then the next day, oh my God, I got blacked out drunk.
Get
So and so got
yeah,
in
possessed.
so and so got in a fist fight. You know,
Yeah.
I should have listened to the stars. So yeah, and I have my own practice online now, and I've been doing it in a professional manner for the last 5 years. And even where I'm at now, there's still so much for me to learn. I'm really excited in developing this friendship with Meten and Casey because they both are very knowledgeable in their own expertise. And once you become a student and passionate about astrology, it's a lifelong journey. There can never be one mind that has obtained all that there is to know about astrology. And that's what I tell a lot of people. And that's why I like to refer to the 12 disciples, right? There had to be 12 because there can't ever be one mind that gets it all. And that's why that we have 12 signs. We need multiple angles, multiple different journeys of experience and ways to sort of explain it. And so yeah, with that being said, that's me in a nutshell.
All right, thanks, you guys. I'll do the same for your audiences because you guys are going to post this on your channels. So for me, I just remember like I was like maybe 10, 11, 12, and I would go to Walden Books, you know? And initially I would go, and this is like in the 80s, this is malls, this old bookstore that's like gone now. And they used to have a BT Dalton or something also, like two different bookstores. One was like high up and one was like on the ground floor of the mall by my house. And I used to go there and I remember they had this section on magic and astrology. And I would just go to that section, just like sit down and just read for hours. So I didn't know where else to go. Libraries didn't have much, so I would just go and read and find these books on, the personology book and all these different astrology books, and I would just read and try and understand. I would also get into Chinese astrology a little too, Western astrology, magic as well. And I just remember reading and reading, and just like Mario, like I didn't think there were schools, I didn't understand. I think I met someone who like could do like these computer charts or something when I was working my first job or second job. But she wasn't even an astrologer. She just knew how to print out these generic charts, And so I didn't even know to look for more professional astrologers. So I just read what I could, and then it wasn't until maybe I was traveling in Brazil and I met a bunch of people, and one person I met told me to get this human design reading and to go back when you go back to the States, get this human design reading by Chaitan. And I never heard of that. And she said, "Oh, it's similar to astrology." And I just did as told. Just MG, manifesting generator, just response. All right, that seems cool. So I went back and got this reading, and it was a great reading Chaitan did for me. And in that reading, he kind of did a whole synopsis of who I was as he was describing the chart as he went through it. And he said that you're someone who's here to kind of wake people up, kind of jostle people, kind of just bang my drum, And I said, oh, that's pretty fucking annoying. But then he said, it's human design, so there's a certain manners to it, you know?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like as a generator, you're just kind of sitting in your field. And I think we're all generators here, right? Are you guys
Yeah.
both manifesting generators?
Yep.
Yeah, this is all
Uh,
MG.
Sacral generator.
Sacral
Three.
generator. Okay, okay. So we got two MGs and one pure sacral generator. So for us, it's like life comes to us. we don't really need to go out to do anything. Everything we do is in response. Everything comes to us in life. There's this great quote by Kafka that talks about how if you hide away from life, life will show itself to you, it will come to you. You won't be able to hide from it, you know. It's more in detail, but it's the idea that it was kind of presented to me in that response and in what information was coming, and from there on my only interest was just exploration of what language can describe this experience that we're having, you know. And astrology is a language, you know, and that's what it is ultimately. And human design similarly is a language that we utilize to describe what's going on around us. And design, of course, goes into the body, and so does Casey's astro-theology, and you know, and all our systems really. Mario didn't even mention, but your exploration of astrology is a little more towards the direction of what's that? What's that particular? Sure. The
What
kind of astrology you studied.
um
Evolutionary, right?
evolutionary, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
And then so for myself, I've definitely explored both evolutionary, both traditional, as well as Hellenistic, which is not Western astrology at all. And these days, more so towards Hellenistic, I'm exploring because I'm really into the metaphysical attributes of the asteroids. And but evolutionary astrology is really important as well, especially the work by the founder. And so, but mostly my background is in transcendental astro-cartagrophy, and those are like exploring the maps of where you live, and also in human design. And these days, I'm studying the dream rave so that I can do readings when I'm ready. And then on my YouTube, I do a lot of transits. I do a lot of mundane astrology these days, and I mix it with the human design and the astrology. And then I also summarize the gates right now is what I'm doing. I'm doing a whole year of all the sun transits through the gates. And speaking of that, let's jump right in. So, as you guys know, as we've been talking, today is January 20th, is it? 21st.
21st.
And as of yesterday, the planets one by one started moving up through Aquarius next to Pluto. And I would say it started Sunday because what I noticed for this month was every Sunday was a Hades moon transit. And what I mean by that is that the moon either squared, opposed, or conjuncted Pluto on every Sunday of this month of January.
Mm.
And when the moon hits Pluto, it's like whatever's, you know, being held is released, right? If you're suppressing something, if there's something that needs to be said, if there's something really emotional that's boiling inside you, it will come out during a Hades moon transit.
Sure.
Hmm.
And so it's every Sunday this month was a Hades moon. And so it started this week Sunday. And I felt it. I felt some shift Sunday, and I looked. I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, today's it. Today's the Hades moon." And you guys know every single day this week we have something happening. Whether
Yeah.
it's, I think
Yeah.
it started with Sun. When was Pluto? Pluto Venus was that Sunday, I think. And then I think Sun
Yeah, I
Pluto is
think it was
tomorrow. Is
Sunday.
in
It's
yeah.
exactly was like Sunday-ish. Sunday.
Okay. And then I had a list too. I have notes somewhere. I'm sure we all have some notes here. But so I'll let you guys go into those details, and I'll just finish off by saying, because I did note this in some of my other videos, but yeah, January 20th to the 26th, all the planets are being initiated into the underworld. Now that Pluto's in Aquarius and still in early Aquarius, gate 41, what we have is every year the transit sun conjuncting Pluto around this time. So the Aquariuses are feeling it. I'll let Casey and Mario go into that because they have some Aquarius aspects that it's going to be hitting soon. I don't have anything in Aquarius, but it is hitting a certain part of my chart for sure. And I'll let one of you guys take it from there. No, one more thing. So for this video, if we haven't been clear, We're going to talk about the Pluto transit through the planets right now. Then we'll get into the Aries Vortex because we know all this energy is building towards the Aries Vortex, which will take a shift in April once Uranus goes into Gemini, and another shift in the summer once Jupiter goes into Leo and opposes Pluto in Aquarius. And then that'll move into the underworld of the fall when Venus goes retrograde this year. And so it's significant right now, I'll just add, that Venus just conjuncted Pluto because Venus just began its trip to the underworld and it will be going back in the fall.
Mm.
And so that's what we'll go over today. And then if we have time, we'll touch a little on, just for fun, the whole sidereal versus tropical, battle or dichotomy or dualism, because we've talked about it, all of us, and we all would love to help you that are lost, help you all that are lost and sideways, and get you straight on the tropical path. All right, you guys go ahead. Share what you will about the dates. I wrote them somewhere, but I got to look for them right now while one of you guys are talking.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you want to go first, Casey?
Why don't you go first on this one?
Okay. So yeah, that Venus Pluto conjunction was building up on January 19th, which was, I believe, Sunday night. My time, I live on the East Coast. It was 3 degrees. The exact minute, I believe, was 19 minutes. So that was the first planet that crossed over Venus. And then where we are today, we have Mercury at 2 degrees. So Mercury is going to cross over Pluto here pretty soon. And then followed by that will be the Sun. Then another week or so, we got Mars that will enter Aquarius and meet with Pluto. So these are all the personal planets: Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Mars, all contacting Pluto right now in Aquarius. Pluto, Lord of the underworld, right? All about death, rebirth, and transformation and intensity in revealing the unconscious, revealing what's operating uh, in a hidden fashion and in the shadows. And this is what I love about all these personal planets contacting Pluto and Aquarius, is that it's happening immediately after the Capricorn new moon. And this Capricorn new moon was a special one, especially because the planetary ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, was aspecting this new moon, was making a sextile with Saturn and Pisces. And with this new moon and the personal planets being so close together on this journey right now, and with this new moon, being one of the, I think maybe the first or the second Capricorn new moon, with Pluto no longer being in Capricorn. I think it's a really important one because Capricorn represents seriousness, being sober-minded and seriously considering, your reality and what you are responsible for, and how to maintain your integrity in the things that you are striving to accomplish. And Saturn at times can be a little bit of a downer for people when they experience Saturn transits, or if they have a harsh Saturn in their chart, is because Saturn suppresses, Saturn brings limitations. Saturn makes you aware of where you are not, compared to imagining where you would like to be. Saturn is not Jupiter, whereas Jupiter is like, you know what? Life is a game. We're all good out here. Here's $20. Go to the casino. I'll do my magic. You'll win more money. Saturn doesn't do that. Saturn's more like, you can't go to the casino because you have bills to pay. You have, your kids need adjustments with their dental appointments and so on and so forth. So it's suppressing, it's constricting. But Saturn is also about hard work, the work that you need to put in, what you're responsible for. So with this new moon that we just went through in Capricorn, I feel like it really pushed the collective in on an individual level to really consider where you are at in life, and what what sort of things you need to start, like in what ways you need to start applying pressure to your own self to level up in the type of life that you want to be experiencing moving forward, because we're closing out major cycles. Pluto's now in Aquarius, was in Capricorn for 18 years. Neptune's about to go into Aries, was in Pisces for the last 14 years. Saturn's going into Aries, starting a new 30-year synodic cycle. Uranus is about to go into Gemini. We have major cycles that are ending new energy. So we're completing, up to 1 to 2 decades of being in this sort of vibrational experience of becoming aware of ourselves, but also becoming aware of what we've inherited through our blood, the sins of our fathers, the memories passed down through the wombs, and all of the karmic spiritual energy that entails, and how we've sort of become carbon repeat of many cycles, and us kind of becoming aware of how those cycles have repeated in our lives individually, but also as a society, and like coming to this point of really recognizing that, and taking our own power and individuality back from what we've inherited and how it's been unconsciously operating. And so post this new moon, like I think at least for me in my life, it's really put me in this place of like, okay, you know what? Like I really need to consider my calorie intake, like with my health, right? It's something as simple as that, right? It's like, okay, my all my life, I have not been like wanting any kind of advice or suggestions on how to manage my diet, because get away from me. I'm going to manage my diet. I got it under control. But the reality is, I've been saying that shit for the last 10 to 15 years. And I'm not extremely overweight. But I'm not where I want to be. You know what I mean? And so I'm having to become honest with that Capricorn integrity and accountability of like, okay, look, Mario, it's time to really let go of that ego aspect of yourself that wants to control and believe that you have it under control. But you should probably actually start counting your calories and measuring, and because if what you really want is to feel better in your body and lose this weight that you haven't been able to lose, then you need to make these adjustments and surrender to that, right? So for the first time in my life, these past couple months, I've actually been releasing some of those pressures, and like going into the regimen. What is going to be the new regimen? What is my new strategy moving forward in obtaining the goals I want in my life? So I know I've kind of just gone all over the place, but that Capricorn new moon, was very important. And now that it's over, all those personal planets where they just met in Capricorn now have to go into the underworld, where they have to become purified by the planet Pluto. And so for me, how I see that is so profound, because that new moon wasn't just a new moon to, have an awareness and set an intention. It was to have an awareness, set an intention, and now be pressurized by Pluto to actually go through a real transformational process, making the journey of this entire year one that is going to be real. You're going to see real results in the intentions that you put, because you're actually surrendering and going through a real transformational process. Does that make sense?
Wow, that was brilliant, man. Now you
Oh,
created a bridge between the new moon and our present
yeah.
Plutonic underworld journey. It's beautiful, brilliant. Casey,
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank
you
Really.
want to add on top of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that because I was actually going to talk about the new moon myself. But so I kind of think that like the full moon that we had on the third in Cancer was like kind of like, um, it was kind of dawning on us that like it was too hard to break familiarity attachment for like our New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. And then in this Capricorn new moon was kind of more appropriate to kind of get, you know, get that moving and actually start putting in the work, the all the productivity the practicality, the practical efforts, all that stuff, so that we can move into these Aquarian energies that are progressive, and then they're going to be pulled down and deep into the underworld. So like with it was still conjuncting Venus. The new moon was conjuncting Venus. So technically we should still feel the new moon energy like for until the next full moon, technically.
Mhm.
So, so we're still definitely feeling the effects of Venus. So we're really feeling like that deeper but more authentic look into matters of like attachments, pleasures, love demonstration, relationships, personal values, stuff like that. That's all being, purified, going through a filter, to be purified and cleansed. And now that we're dragging now the sun in there, so it's just our spirit and our general consciousness. And now we have Mercury, so our intellect and our communication, our thought process. And now what is it gonna? It's gonna be Mars as well. Uh,
Mhm.
and that new moon. So Venus and Mars were conjuncting that new moon, or no, Mercury and Mars. So
Mercury and Mars,
again,
yeah.
going back to the new moon, it was a great time to take those affirmative actions with applied thought, right? So this was the new moon to really get serious about New Year's resolutions, so that we can
Mhm.
really progress our personal role, to take with this with Aquarian energy and the Pluto, to know our personal role to aid the collective humanity. So I thought, yeah, I really thought like, so I made a video actually both on the Cancer full moon and the Capricorn new moon, and I was talking about how like, dude, we're not gonna we're not ready to let go of the familiar yet on the full moon, um, because it was opposed all the Capricorn energy. So then by the time the new moon was all conjunct, it was like, yeah, okay, this is the time now you act on it. And so last new moon before the the Aquarius new moon, which marks the fire horse year. So this is really wrapping up. Like this is really where you want to set your intention forward, right? So that you can wrap up this old cycle of the wood snake and all the shedding, and continue the building that's going on into this new year, which is going to be right next to the Saturn Neptune conjunction, where Saturn has been, where Saturn builds character, and Neptune basically dissolves and elevates. So yeah, I mean, is I think this is the best new moon to capitalize on momentum and moving forward. And the transits with Aquarius, I think it's very much knowing your role, um, really purifying your role as what to know what it is and how you're going to better be authentic with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, actions, love, thought process, and consciousness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys both said it so well. I don't have to say anything. I'm just gonna, just kidding. I'll say a couple of things, but you guys said it brilliantly. I'm just gonna add, like, just because my whole thematic is, Pluto based, my channel Plutonic planes, but it's the feeling we get though. So I'll go over that because you guys took care of that bridge for me. So this week, what it is, and Mario and both Casey brought this up, is that this little kind of party in the underworld with all the planets passing through, especially Pluto with the Cazimi with the Sun, and that was on that's on the 23rd. That's on Friday, and also on Friday Mars. That's when Mars goes into Aquarius. I think Casey mentioned that, and so as soon as Mars enters Aquarius on Friday, right away it's going to conjunct Pluto. Now, this moment carries that seriousness that Casey spoke about forth. And what it is that once that happens, our drive, our energy is just going to be full momentum forward. And we won't even consciously, intellectually know what our I mean, we may know loosely where the direction we're going in, in our new direction and what our new Aries Vortex vision is with Neptune and Saturn there. But the momentum is going to be so powerful that instinctually we're going to be driving forth with our plans. So it's not necessarily something we need to mentate too much about. It's more body felt. It's more just where our body takes us, where we move forward. And, the feeling, the sense of these stelliums that are close to Pluto at this time period, this underworld of visitation, in a sense, is a form of abduction. Because many of us had certain plans this week, right? Plans to do this, plans to do that. And when we have conjunctions in the underworld, it's to some degree we're changing plans. Oh, wait a second, I don't have time for that this week. Oh, I got to change plans. I got to do this, right? Because, fires come up. Fires in the underworld come up and start to burn the surface and the ashes. And we have to redesign the makeup of our surroundings and say, okay, how are we going to go forward now? And it's not necessarily comfortable because we're not knowing exactly what we want to keep and what we want to blow up. It's just happening naturally. One of my favorite lyrics by an old metal band called Last Crack is, to build or destroy, only we decide which joy. So it's beginning to have comfort with whether we're destroying something or creating it. Because that's the energy right now. We're building towards the Aries Vortex, which is an opposition in a way. It's a conjunction in Aries, the 0 point between Saturn and Neptune, but Saturn and Neptune are very polar. Not as polar as Jupiter and Saturn, but very polar because Neptune is what creates reality. Neptune holds the veil over the Play-Doh of reality, while Saturn checks everything coming into third density being, checks it for it being sufficient to represent itself in this third density. And so what's coming is a reality check. And so it's like we're all, over the last couple months, we've all been fumbling to reset ourselves so we're ready for it. So when Casey and Mario talk about how we have been, following these New Year's resolutions this year really well, most of us, I would say that's exact truth. Because I didn't have to, write down a bunch of stuff and, do some ritual shit for the moon, nothing. I just knew what I wanted to be done with, and I was done with it. And my body knew it before I did. And all I had to do was get out of the way and let my body experience what it wanted to experience. And certain addictions I've had, just gone. Just gone. And you know what it is for humans? It's like for humans, we're in bodies, right? So we may have all these idealizations or these plans, but really we're in a body. So the question is always the same and the answer is always the same. How can we be more in our body? In what new way can we really be present? In what new essence or representation or frequency can we meet now in order to really be fully in there in a new way? And that's what it's been for me as well. So as we move into February, which Casey spoke of a little with our transitioning into the year of the fire horse, one of the necessities, and also numerologically a year one. So one of the things I feel to continue to work on is cleanup, delete your phone, old phone shit, old digital stuff, like delete, like make your load lighter, whatever extraneous things you're still holding on to in your life, it's time to purify it, clean it up, clear it up, destroy it, get rid of it, so you have room for this new year. Because we can't have anything new when we don't make room for it, And this Aries Vortex is going to do it for you if you don't do it yourself. Because the thing with this Aries Vortex on February 20th is it's think about it like Saturn is passing through the 0 point. Neptune's going to be there a long time, but Saturn's passing through a little faster. So we have this, humanity has this moment right now, this portal moment of Neptune, which is hope and compassion and possibility and vision. For this moment that Saturn hits Neptune, we're all going to be arrested in that moment. And we're all going to have to face something. Okay, and it's a reality check. Okay, have I taken care of this or not? You know? Shit, I haven't. Okay, let me fix it up. Let me finish it up. Okay, done. Because after this February 20th, Saturn will start to move out of the Aries Vortex. And once Saturn is out, there will be this vision of humanity that we will all get to share and enjoy together. But we can't do it without that Saturn check-in, that Saturn reality check that's coming. So, not to mention whatever's happening right now. You know, on a mundane astrology perspective, we know that the World Economic Forum just held the Davos meeting. You know, we don't know what they said, but we know what they said. We don't really know their plans. They didn't make it free and clear to us, but we know their plans. And so they just seeded it right now during this period where power in the underworld was at its most potent.
Mm.
Right now, we're observing, because it'll come out. It'll come out sharp and fast like a hammer once Mars goes into Aquarius on Friday. And these things will start to be visible. But once Saturn gets out of the way of Neptune, once that Aries stellium activates in mid-April, that's when we have the power to say, this will work, this won't work. You know, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're not going to do. We're not here to be controlled. You don't have this power over us. And so that's how I see the momentum that both of you guys spoke of moving. It's very powerful. We can't, no one's immune to this. We're all on this like intense, roller coaster towards the Aries Vortex. And we all have our vision. And we're all feeding our vision as best we can, because I feel that momentum. Like every day is like not a rush, but just a move to complete everything I can complete that day and then to the next. Making sure I have everything in balance as much as possible. Rest, sleep, activation, all those things. Because there's not a moment to lose right now. You can't waste time right now. It's not a time to waste. We will have some time to rest after, probably I'd say maybe the first week of February. But even then, on February 5th, Saturn is actually going to be in a position that's opposing the September 21st eclipse of last year. And that's a huge trigger for whatever was plotted and pitted during that time of that September 21st eclipse last year. So that's another moment to watch. So I'd say maybe after that moment we'll have a little more time to relax, but the intensity of the Aries Vortex, and you guys know this, the eclipse is on the 17th, which begins the whole Shadowland eclipse period from the 17th to the 3rd. So that's a whole period of time where we're in the underworld, and then all of a sudden the signification out of it after that March 3rd eclipse is we're in retrograde. We wake up in retrograde for all of March. And so now, okay, we just made all the moves. Now where are we at? What worked, what didn't? And then that'll give us the full momentum to go fully forward in April. After we reflect, reset, redesign what we want to do. And so the real Aries Vortex, in a way, is going to be in April. In April, when all the planets go through Aries. We're going to have 8 planets in Aries, including Chiron. So it's a huge stellium. And it's just that period, April 10th to April 18th, is super powerful.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a real moment there. So I'll stop. I've been going on for a while. And you guys can either take it from there or share whatever.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, what was I going to say? There was a lot of things I felt like I could have said there.
Damn.
Yeah, no.
Without interruptions.
So Saturn, I think, well, I think that the retrograde, after that retrograde passes that you're talking about from like February to like March or so, right?
February 27th to March
Yeah.
something.
I think that after that will be will really move things a lot more clearly because, well, I mean, after retrogrades, you have more clarity anyway. But what what I don't think is talked about enough is that like Saturn's fall in Aries, and fall planets don't they kind of like they kind of function where they're like stuck in a job that they have no experience in a sense, like they don't have like the assets or the resources to function the is well without like codepending or needing help, so I think.
Did you guys both pause for me? I think your video is paused for me. Oh, it's me. It's my internet.
Okay.
Now I'm sideways. This,
Yeah.
this, this always happens to me in a recent class I'm in. Every time I get on class, I'm upside down. Today I'm
uh,
sideways, like sidereal. All right,
yeah.
I'll be back, you
Well,
guys. I'm just gonna cover the video. I'm still here, but I'm just gonna
Good.
try and go right side up.
Okay.
See if I can
We
do.
didn't lose the previous recording, did we?
I don't know how does that work. Does it? Do we lose
I
it?
don't know because when you disappeared, it said recording stopped, and then when you came back, it said recording in
Oh, what
progress.
that'll mean is that I'll have two recordings then.
Okay,
So I
cool,
might do
cool.
a part one and part two is what that might
Okay,
mean. But I just put it on my phone hotspot. So
yeah.
hopefully, because they're doing a bunch of shit on my property, man. I don't know. It's probably fucking with the internet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm.
so I think
yeah.
Casey, we're speaking. So
Well,
go ahead, sir.
yeah. No, wait, I was just gonna say it's. I think it's we're gonna experience growing pains. When we hit that Saturn Neptune.
Oh yeah, you were talking about Saturn and how Saturn's like a little kid. Like it's like the Saturn. It's not a comfortable Saturn in Aries.
Yeah, it's like raising like this little kid that needs a lot of work with patience. Aries.
But
Uh,
it knows everything though because it's Saturn. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I was
Pretend.
gonna say it feels more like somebody like just graduating out of like grad school, and it's their first time actually on the field, and so they're having to build that bridge of their years of learning and how it actually is when you're on the field. And because I've had so many jobs where I'm like, oh yeah, I got my certification and I've done some training here, and they're like, yeah, just get rid of all that knowledge. That's you're starting all over. We're going to teach you how it really is, because what they taught you, it just fucked up your whole viewpoint on,
It's
on
fucked it
how
all up.
on how to actually work here. Because that's kind of what it sounds like when because Saturn's old, Saturn's ancient, Saturn's mature, Saturn's grandfather, but Aries is baby, so it's kind of that's what it seems. It's like I've already done the work in obtaining this education, but I have zero experience actually in the field.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a comfortable
yeah,
Saturn at all, and it's the symbol is like the lone wonder, right? Or the lone vigilante. And so this
Mhm.
whole idea that these new years with Saturn and Aries is we're going to see a lot of like lone vigilante warriors, coming forth.
Hmm.
Whereas before we had the woke warriors of Neptune, making everything copacetic and compassionate towards everything, no boundaries,
Right.
everything accepted, you know, which, we go from balance, we go from extremes, and they bring the balance they bring, that's important, but now with Aries, with Saturn and Aries, well, I was talking about Neptune and Aries, I guess, but with Saturn um, having brought the boundaries to Pisces, right, kind of balancing out with Neptune, now we have a different form of balance being brought forth with Saturn and Aries. And I'll let you guys take it from that.
Well, something you when you were speaking earlier, Maten, about how like it's feeling in the body, and you didn't really need to write down like a whole, 10-year plan or anything, just kind of felt it and the addictions just like, fall off. Wanted to, piggyback on that and sort of like because that's kind of what I was trying to portray too, but I don't think I actually touched on it at all, was that, we're with the cycles that were coming to ending with the, 14 years of Pluto, 18 years 18 years of Pluto and Cap, 14 years of Neptune and Pisces, and just those two alone, it's like we are all very much aware of the things we are tired of because we've been becoming aware of like more aware of these things for several years. And now, and so that's why it feels like it might be so effortlessly to finally just say, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm switching because we've already been in the vibration of becoming aware of it, seeing it in our lives, and trying different methods to, like, for example, with like me and like trying to control, my diet by thinking I can do whatever I want and, like don't tell me anything because I got it. And, but at the same time, becoming aware of like, yeah, like this really isn't working. I just want to eat more tacos without somebody telling me not to eat as many tacos, but then now it's like, okay, no, yeah, I need to stop, you know what I mean? Um, yeah. And so wanted to say that, but gonna switch gears a little bit because another thing about like with the Aries energy going on, and I like what you said about the rise of the vigilantes here, because something that actually started saying a couple years ago when the North Node was first in Aries, and we had those eclipses going on in Aries, especially that big one in 2024, is that this is what I was saying, telling all my I hate using the word followers, but all the folks that like to tune into my astrological blabber here, is that this North Node in Aries transit, what it's doing is it's paving the road. It's paving the road for what is this next era that we're going into next. And so, the North Node in Aries was paving the road for us to, begin coming into awareness of our next cycle in our individuation process. And I've said that it's paving the road for the rise of the warriors, the true warriors, the ones sort of who have kind of um, see things in a different way where they've are coming from a place of their heart, and so what comes next after this road is being paved is what we're experiencing now with this Neptune in Aries and this Saturn in Aries going into that 0 degree point. And I was kind of meditating on it the other day. Not really meditating on it, but like just, keeping it in my mind as I'm doing house chores and letting my thoughts flow. And I was what was coming to me about, 0 degree Aries, it's like 0 degree Aries, and how it was being explained to me in my mind was that it's the 0 point, it's the God point, it's the beginning and the end with that zero, because with that 0 degree Aries, and the ruling planet of Aries is Mars, and Mars is desire and direction. And desire and direction is what gives order to chaos. Because without desire, you have no direction in where you want to go. And without direction and without desire, everything is in chaos. And so with that 0 degree point, we're all coming to an awareness of a desire and a direction. And that desire and the direction, we're at the same time, we're also seeing the end, like what we want in the end. So like for example, let's say right now, you're visualizing and you're getting this idea of buying a house, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy a house. That's where I want to be. I want to live in a house in New Mexico with a community of, agricultures. And that's the desire. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, now I need to initiate that journey. So it's like seeing the end result, but then also understanding that it's the beginning to get to that point. So it's like both the beginning and the end. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, like being a little bit redundant there. It's kind of new information in my mind.
You're hitting on something we've all talked about. It's like the whole simultaneous presence of things. Because for you to say that the ending is in the beginning means that at that moment of our vision coming forth, we don't have to do anything, but it's important to be aware that we're seeing the ending goal there because it's present in that, and to kind of
Yes,
stay on that path.
yes, 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 yes.
And with Uranus going into Gemini, going into gate 20 in human design, that's the gate of the moment, of the now.
Mm,
And it's very clairvoyant. It's very, it's Uranus, so it's very future aware. It's very much the past and present in the same moment. And so it's a simultaneous awareness. I called it in my video the simultaneous mind,
mm.
because our minds will become super clairvoyant at that moment. And clairvoyant's not even the word, because it's like did you guys ever read the Infinity Wars or the Infinity Gauntlet of Marvel with Thanatos and all that? I know the movies came out, but I didn't fucking watch those pieces of shit movies. So I read the comic books, and in the comic books there's a character called the Living Tribunal. And it was all these like kind of elder gods that were there when Thanatos was able to get the Infinity Gems. And so in the comic book, there's all these gods behind them. I don't know if they showed up in the movies again because I didn't watch them. But in the comic book, there's all these different like godlike characters. And there's one called the Living Tribunal. And he has like three or four faces, three or four like, faces to his head. And so each is facing a direction. So it's almost like a Janus archetype. And it's just a sick concept because conceptually it's the human body incorporating the awareness of all directions at once. And Uranus in gate 20 is kind of like this because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So we have a higher mind being expressed here. And they say that um, there's this book called Mind Time by the scientist. And in this book, he was talking about how he did all these like studies and like interviews with people and learned that like when you're in a moment like a car accident or something where you're in a moment where time slows down, people talk about that like being in very scary circumstances where time seems to slow down. And it's because the focal point of awareness is shifting from the ego and the personality to the higher self. And
Mm.
so the higher self starts to see things in slow motion and almost in a different, from a different purview. And so what he found out through his books was that when that occurs, you're having a different experience of temporal and spatial awareness. And so if it's a near death experience, you might have flashes of images of your life at the same time as you're in this moment. And so there's a quality of perceiving many different densities at once, an overlay of different density awarenesses. And Uranus going into Gemini on April 26th will exactly sextile the Aries Vortex.
Hmm.
And it will sextile Aquarius in Pluto, and the midpoint of each will be the Aries Vortex. That's what it is.
Okay.
And so we have this like triangle occurring with the Aries Vortex here at the bottom, and then Pluto right here, Uranus right here, each in sextile with each other, and the midpoint of each is going to be the Aries Vortex.
Wow.
And so that's a type of geometry that is going to shift our awareness on like other levels. So we're also priming our awareness to be ready for that so that we're not fried, but rather the energy flows freely through us.
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
love everything you just said there, especially with the fact that so we're not fried and everything flows through us. And your example of the book you read or whatever the information was about time slowing down when you're about to get hit by a car and that higher awareness and what you're seeing. Because I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I've been hit by cars 3 times while riding a bicycle, all within 6 months. I was going through it was when Saturn was in Scorpio and it was T-squaring my north and south node. I got hit by a car um, on the spring equinox, and then I got hit by a car um, sometime in between, well, actually, like in September, and then I got hit by a car for the third time on the fall equinox. So 3 separate occasions, I was hit by a car all on my left side in Los Angeles. And that awareness, I had that awareness in very intense ways. I'm not in a car, I'm on a bicycle getting hit by a car. And that those moments in time of like seeing that happen, like, that year of going through that was very traumatic, and it was an experience that I relived for many years after that, processing what happened. Because there were also weird things that lined up. Like the first person that hit me had the same name as me. The second person that hit me had the same name as my father. The third person that hit me, there were some other weird, synchronicities with that. And because going through something like that, it had me wonder, like, why did this happen? How, and of course, astrologically, I could see that, but it, in a way, it kept me in a prolonged psychosis of processing it, and because the things were fracturing, and so this. And so what you were saying is just kind of blowing my mind right now because I can feel the cascading of the last, how many years has it been? 13 years now of processing, that of what I went through there. And I like how you said, so with that trying going on, it's like, coming into this awareness and we've already been primed, so that way we're not going to fry. And so I feel like you're just making me excited, is what I'm saying. Excited and hopeful that, in the coming months with these trines in that Aries vortex, that like I can get a new level of understanding and awareness of just that whole craziness I went through, because it definitely, activated me in a lot of strange ways, but it also fucked me up in some other ways. You know what I mean?
Of
So
course, man, of
I'll
course.
stop there.
And thanks for that because you just caused the Great Depression to loom over me, knowing that many planets are going to start squaring my nodes.
Dude, it's oh my God. Well, I mean, Scorpio death. I'm a Scorpio rising. I got Pluto and Scorpio. So that was that was a rough one.
Oh man, so both.
All years. I got I got Sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Aquarius, Leo rising. So I have a fixed cross. I have Mars in Scorpio, Pluto, Scorpio, nodes, Taurus, Scorpio. Of all these, I'm all these
We're all
squares.
fixed. Yeah, we're fixed cross here. All of
Yeah.
us. We're fixed cross.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why
Fixed
we met.
cross and fixed
You
nodes.
know?
All of us, right? Fixed cross and fixed nodes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of more planets too, but yeah, that's crazy.
Oh man, it's I said it. So it's not for a while that they'll hit my notes, but I'm just looking at it right now. Oh man.
Yeah. Case, are you guys Pluto Scorpio?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
Pluto's.
not. I'm Pluto
You're Pluto
Libra.
Libra. So Meten, you already experienced transiting Pluto, squaring your natal Pluto. That's something that I'm now anticipating too, since I've already gone through a square. You got any
Words of
Words
wisdom?
of
No, I'd have to
advice,
look at the
words of
date.
wisdom.
I no no words of wisdom yet. Let me look at the
Well,
date and see when did Pluto exactly
Because
square my
I'm
notes.
I already have my Sun, Mercury, Venus stellium square Pluto as it is. So
mm,
um,
Oh man,
it's squaring right now.
we're being crucified
It's
on the fixed
yeah,
cross, all three of us. You
only about
know,
4 degrees.
oh man, every color of it
Uh,
as Pluto goes through Aquarius.
yeah,
I mean, and also, I mean, summer 2026, we got Jupiter entering Aquarius. I'm
all
sorry,
right.
Leo.
Jupiter
Yeah,
entering Leo, which is
Yeah.
going to oppose all this Aquarius, and again, light it up. So everything we're going through now, we will check in with on 4th of July once Jupiter
Hmm.
enters into Aquarius, because
Hmm.
it's going
yeah.
to test it all out. It's going to expand whatever we built there, or whatever we're focused on there. So it's a time
Uh,
for those of the fixed cross, you know?
we got the nodes too going into Leo Aquarius as well around that time. No,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
right around the same
or
time.
yeah,
Yeah, I decided to leave planet in July. I'm gonna go to Mars. Oh, I haven't decided where, but I'm out. And then I'll see you guys in August. You
That's a good
know,
plan.
because
I heard they got a 30-second jump room to Mars under the Hilton Hotel near LAX. So
really near LAX. Is that where the portal is? The Pac-Man? Is that where the big Pac-Man is? There's like you can see it from like airplanes, like a portal, a Pac-Man portal. You heard of this?
no.
Supposedly it's like one of where the chakras of the earth are. But tell me
In
about yours
LAX?
later. That
What?
one's fun too. Huh?
In LAX or
I don't know if it's LAX, but someone talked about years ago, the different chakras, different locations for the planet.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were talking about one pivotal point in the LA area. And
Hmm.
I just remember it being like a Pac-Man, like visually looking like a Pac-Man just from up high, like pictures taken downward, something weird like that. Some
Interesting.
kind of weird architectural setup, you know. But
Um,
LAX, what's LAX? Remind me, that's the airport. What about LAX?
yeah, the airport. So you know, uh getting into the conspiracy world a little bit, it's believed that a lot of Hilton hotels, are kind of associated with some of these shadow programs, and specifically the Hilton Hotel near the LAX is speculated or believed that underground, because there's a whole underground system, that there's a portal jump room uh, directly to Mars, where developed by the secret space program. Um, and and there's a lot of, and you know how like movies tell, right? Like,
They live had
they
that little jump
exactly
off
they
point at the
the
end.
end the very end of They Live, they show you that part, right? Of the jump room underground going to another planet. And so yeah, supposedly that jump room is under the Hilton Hotel.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys were like flew out of the LAX around 2020. But they were doing a lot of reconstructions, and the signs they had up were like, this area temporary closed, we're doing reconstruction, or are we further, or are we rearranging our Illuminati tunnel dungeons with like and there'd be like a reptilian looking at you like this. Have
Are you
you guys
serious?
see that at all? Yeah, dude, in
They
LAX.
rarely have a sense of humor. It's fun
Yeah,
to see it
no,
when they
yeah,
do.
they did. They did. They did that. Because I remember it was in 2020, I had to fly to LA from Portland for my aunt's funeral service. And as I'm wandering the LAX, I'm like, what the fuck? What under reconstruction, or are we remodeling our, Illuminati tunnels?
It's crazy.
right, right, yeah.
There's a book that came out years ago called The Secrets of the Southwest. And there's so
Mm,
many Native American stories about the Southwest,
hmm.
underground, and like stories of beings and all this stuff from the Native Americans that There's something about the evil black magic witch and their usage of the holly wood, right, as opposed to willow, which would be
Mm,
the more positive side of witchcraft, right? The more light side. Like
wow.
how they chose that area for with purpose, with
Hmm.
intention.
Hmm.
That whole area. Yeah,
Yeah.
so very interesting.
I feel like as somebody who is scorpionic and has the Pluto and Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, you know, close to my rising sign, I feel like it's just speaking for myself that I'm more open and susceptible to seeing and experiencing that kind of awareness in places that I go. Because I can be with somebody else and say and drop information like you just dropped, and they'd be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I see nothing but flowers and rainbows. And I'm like, I see I can see that too, but I'm also aware of some nefarious shit going on, and I feel like just having that Scorpio energy, but also my Gemini energy in the eighth house, is just kind of it makes me more aware of it. Do you feel that too? Being
Yeah,
Plutonic,
I'm Pluto Libra, but I'm a Pluto Sun, man, and a
right,
Pluto Moon. So
right,
you don't
right,
get
right.
any more aware than that. I mean,
Hmm.
one is living in the underworld when it's sun and moon, your life force, and it's both parents as well, if you're a night baby. And yeah, you don't get more aware. And plus my Pluto's in a certain place in my chart where it can X-ray the 12th. So I can see the open worlds and the walking portals of humans sometimes just in that alone. But
Wow.
it's funny, I just came back. I was visiting my dad in Vegas, and I went to the Luxor on purpose, like the big black pyramid, right? On the
Yeah,
32nd or 33-degree parallel, same as the pyramid in
pyramid.
Egypt.
Yeah,
And it's the same parallel, by the way, all
right,
across
right.
the
So is
Egypt.
Disneyland.
Okay, okay, cool. And I went in there and I was like, all right, I'm in the Luxor, let's see what I can do with this energy. I won some good money gambling. It was fun.
Nice.
Definitely played with the energy. And yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely aware. How about you, Casey? You're Pluto Scorpio too, right?
Pluto Scorpio. It's
And
conjunct my South Node and my IC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
wow. So you're a
Uh,
South Node Pluto? Oh man.
yeah. The fourth house. Yeah, yeah.
And are
It's
you South Node Scorpio as well? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, of
yes.
course. Wow.
I,
You're from the underworld.
yeah. Right.
You're more familiar than any of us,
I
you
feel
know?
deep, deep in my soul.
Oh
But
man.
I think I've done a lot of headway to kind of like, you know, over time I am kind of leaving it more in the past where things aren't so intense. Although obviously this Pluto transit that's going on, hitting it like almost every position in my chart. Um, it just I don't know, it's just different, you know. It's not hitting the same, you know. Like even if the circumstances are, it's not me. I'm not feeling like it's hitting me the same, and that's what I'm coming to realize is what matters most, you know. So, um, but yeah, man, like I mean, we've had to with the fourth house Pluto, we've had to move like 10 times in 9 years and change residence, just crazy stuff, but tumultuous home family life arrangements and things that just were dysfunctional and kind of out of our hands at times. But fourth house is a late bloomer, so here I am, kind of trying to get my astrological work finally forward, which I'm ripe for after 24 years or so.
Yeah,
So
me too, man. I got Saturn in the fourth.
oh
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. I have Saturn in the fifth, so it's like it kind of delays like creativity, or children because I have two kids. It maybe delays that as well. But yeah, man, it's I got some heavy hitters, but I'm grateful for them. because I wouldn't be who I am or right here, right now with you guys.
We're
Yeah,
we're being all three of us, man. We're being catalyzed and vitalized, and it's on the world stage,
definitely.
because we're transforming, we're transmuting who we are. I mean, we're all fixed cross, and for those of you listening, what we're talking about is planets in Taurus or its opposite Scorpio, and Aquarius and its opposite Leo. So for those of you who have planets in any of those four signs, you're going to be going through this, as well. It'll be relative to wherever your chart, wherever these planets, these signs are in your chart exactly. But anytime one of these signs are touched on the fixed cross, it's affecting every single sign, every single house where you have these four signs.
Right.
And
In astrology, they actually talk about the fixed cross. The fixed people with the fixed cross are the chosen ones. Yeah, Ezekiel 110 talks about how the chosen ones show up with a face of an ox, a lion, an eagle, and a man. Scorpio is also associated with the eagle. So you got the ox, Taurus, lion, Leo, eagle, Scorpio, and man, Aquarius. And they're also referenced as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And if you look at the World card and the Wheel of Fortune card on the tarot deck, you also see those four faces
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
representing also the fixed cross. So,
I got that fixed cross with I have my rising sign in Scorpio, 9 degrees, my north node in Aquarius, 9 degrees, my south node in Leo, 9 degrees, and then my Mercury in Taurus, 10 degrees.
wow. Yeah,
I'm chosen.
right. Yeah, I got similar arrangement, but yeah, I got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, 8, 9, 12. Uh, the nodes, Taurus, Scorpio at 4. Uh, well, I have breathing room with my Mars, which is 28, and my Jupiter's 24 Aquarius and 28 Scorpio for Mars. But let's see, what else do I have? And Pluto, yeah, Pluto at 7 degrees. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's like a grand cross basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
some kind of yod. I have my rising is Taurus, and then my north node is in um, the opposite Scorpio, and then I have Venus in Leo, and then in Aquarius I have no planets, so I'd have to look and see what asteroids I have that are right around that point, to create my fixed cross. But I'm
all right.
sure I got some asteroids right around there.
If you look into evolutionary astrology too, like you can look at the planetary nodes. I know the south node of Neptune is Aquarius for everybody because they move so slow. So you can see what degree. Usually, I think it's between 11 and 17 degrees for everybody.
Yeah,
Say
my nodes are later.
South,
They're higher up.
the south node of Neptune is Aquarius. Is that what you said?
yeah, collect. Yeah, if you look into planetary nodes,
Collectively.
planetary astrology, yeah,
I don't think I've ever looked into that planetary nodes.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
have to write that
Yeah,
down.
it's big in evolutionary. I remember reading about it.
yeah. They have planetary node. Jeffrey Wolf Green, he talked about that a lot. He talked about
Oh yeah, Wolf Green.
By the way, did you guys read Wolf Green's book Lucifer on the Lucifer asteroid? He has a book called Lucifer. It's really good.
I, I know about it. I haven't read it
He
though.
goes into his mystical experiences a little, and then he talks in detail about that asteroid. It's good to know where it is in your chart too.
Hmm.
So the meaning of it
I
is
heard
Orion.
another astrologer said that Kamala Harris has Lucifer right on her sun.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
That is funny, right?
I won't mention where I have it. Just kidding. It's not in any,
It's
it's
your
over
in
there.
Uranus, huh?
It's hidden away. It doesn't even exist. You can't even see it. Uh,
crazy.
so I think we're good, you guys. I think it feels like a
Yeah,
natural ending.
yeah, I agree.
gonna talk sidereal tropical just a little bit, or
There's nothing to
Let's
say,
save
man.
that because that'll open up another 40 minutes for
Yeah,
us.
there's nothing to say. There's only one thing to say about that. We all know what it is. So I'll let you guys say
Yeah,
it.
the side real sucks. It's not real.
yeah.
I'll leave you guys on that.
And
You guys can
on,
digest or throw that up any way you want. No, but next time maybe seriously we'll get on that because
Yeah, yeah,
Casey can break it down really well. I
yeah,
think Mario you can too, and I in my own way can break that one down really well too. And
yeah.
in essence, it's really seriously important because as we know with everything, there's always an attempt to misguide, you know.
Mhm.
And how do they do it in astrology? Well, they create the polarities everywhere, right? We're always
yep,
dealing with some kind of battle between the
yep,
left side of the bird or the right side of the
yep,
bird. And they imprint that dualism, that polarity everywhere. And as astrologers, we know that when you're looking for, the cure or the peace of a problem or of a sign, where do you look? You look to the opposite. You look to the midpoint because, Pisces and its opposite, which is Virgo, they meet at some point, just like Scorpio and Taurus and all the polarities.
right.
And so there's always healing there to be made. But in the circumstance of tropical and sidereal, there is no midpoint. There's only one side that's obviously correct and one side that's obviously incorrect. so
Mhm.
so that doesn't correlate well. But we'll get into that next time. We'll have fun with
I
that.
think you just start calling it not real instead of sid real.
That's perfect.
I like that.
So stay tuned, everyone. Next time we're gonna do not real versus tropical,
Yes.
and we'll see how
I
you
love
guys.
that answer.
we'll, see,
Uh,
we'll leave it up to you guys to decide what's real.
yeah,
We're not saying anything. We're just suggesting, to for us to look into this a little deeper.
Yeah, and also I think between the three of us, we have like what how many years? 70, 80 years of astrological wisdom and experience combined between us three.
Oh yeah, there we
You know,
go. Yeah,
so we got something to say about something.
we'll have something. Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah.
So,
right.
all
Right
right.
on.
So,
Done.
go ahead, Casey. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I just said right on. Yeah,
All
no,
right, cool, cool.
it's great. I'm really thankful for this experience and the opportunity and having the pleasure to have this podcast with you guys.
Yeah, we got to thank Raquel and Davidian for putting
Yeah,
out the Awake
Yes.
Shift.
Davidian shout out.
So
Yeah,
shout out to respect to Raquel and
well,
Davidian. Share
yeah,
this with them, you guys. Remember to
yeah,
do that. So they'll
definitely,
have some fun
Absolutely.
checking it out.
Absolutely.
already planning on it. Yeah,
They have their own channel as well
yeah.
Yeah.
on
Helen,
YouTube.
yeah,
Is it
Yes.
is it Raquel and Davidian Human
Helen,
Design?
I think that's yeah, I think that's what it is. Raquel Davidian Human Design. Let me make sure we
Yeah,
confirm.
yeah. We can double check it. They have a great channel, and they're
yeah,
so knowledgeable about human design.
for sure, absolutely.
They studied with John, one of my teachers as well, and they got great info. And hopefully they'll do it again next year, so we can all meet again.
Yeah, I think they are, and I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna be probably better moving forward, bigger and better. So
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it going in any other direction except,
yeah,
bigger
well,
and better every year.
2027, it's gonna be human design's year anyway, so it's probably gonna explode next time.
Yeah, yeah, it might be so.
Yeah, I really want to start learning more.
Yeah, I do need to get better at human design. Kind of expand other than just like the basics I know. Sure.
I know I'm subscribed to their channel, but I can't find it.
I'm gonna look real quick then. Okay, so I got it right away. Let me see. Yeah, it's Raquel and Davidian, Unleash Your Genius.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Unleash your genius.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's
I
the
should
one.
know.
YouTube does weird things for me all the time. It'll unsubscribe my subscribers. They do all kinds of stuff to my account.
Same. Same.
Yeah.
I just started revamping my YouTube and um I mean I do pretty good on Instagram threads, but I noticed the same thing though. what you're saying.
All right, I'll get us off and we can chat a little. I'm just gonna turn off the recording. So
All
thanks
right.
all
Peace, everybody.
for watching.
All right.
Yeah, hopefully it's been great. Thanks for being on with me, you guys. It's been great.
And awesome. Thank you so much.